Hello, friends. Are you ready to hear the rest of the tale? Then let us commence. If you'll remember when last we spoke, our heroes were, well, they were walking straight into a demonic cathedral that probably housed a malevolent cult that was after the same arcane and nefarious crate they were trying to get a hold of. That was where we left off, yeah? Wow. The ruined demonic church proved to be relatively quiet to start. While quietly harrowing because it was, after all, a church devoted to abyssal demons, there weren't any immediate threats. All the heroes found were signs that someone, the cult presumably, was staying there, although where they were at the moment was unclear. Descending into the basement, evidence of the cult's residency continued, built on the bones of the ancient eldritch demon temple. Pallets and bedrolls, as well as various possessions, were found, but no other sign of life. Regal noted that the cult had some hastily constructed barricades made from various pieces of debris set up to pull in front of the northern hall entrance in case of attack. But other than that, the cultists themselves were absent. Am I the only one who is 100% okay with that? Throughout, evidence and artifacts of the Eldritch Obirith Lords, the ancient race of demons for whom the church was made in allegiance to, were in abundance. The heroes discovered 2 Obirith crypts, empty for centuries perhaps, 4 empty sarcophaguses in each crypt, heavy stone lids on the floor, some broken. Writing on the crypts in ancient abyssal revealed a quote, "Lords of the Obirith, soldiers of the unraveling, servants of chaos all." The 4 tombs had names written in ancient abyssal, though Varys was able to translate them: Dagon, Oboxob, Surtrus, Ubathar. The lids and crypts for Dagon and Surtrus appeared as though they had been scorched somehow. The 4 tombs in the other crypt had names as well: Ugudenk, Veshvoriak, Vrothkun, Kizavidexus. The lids and crypts for Ugudenk and Vrothkun appeared as though they had been scorched as well. While proving interesting, mainly to Varys, the heroes pushed further into the church's basement, as they were not there for a lesson on the political vagaries and leitmotifs of ancient abyssal history. It was then that our friends discovered a chamber that was being used by the Shadakai cult's apparent leader, Svatan. In this room, the heroes were able to collect some significant information about who the cult was and perhaps what their goals may be. After poring over notes and ancient scrolls, Varys learned that the cult, who were known as the Cult of the Other, were a group of Shadakai elves out of a place known as Tenebris, where most of their kind appeared to be enslaved. The Cult of the Other seemed to be a rebel element and sort of freedom fighter force bent on freeing the Shadakai and Tenebris. Their main hope appeared to be bound up in something, or someone, known by many names: Sanguinum Immortis, Queen of the Burning Sands, Breaker of Night, to name a few. There were also mentions of Hazelik and Darkon, destinations in the domains of Dread according to Varys, as well as somewhere known as Sephitrax. Much to Varys' delight, they also found a strange dried hand from something not human, and a crude map of Tenebris painted in blood on a mixture of various skins. With this, the heroes continued on into the church. As they prepared to descend to the next level, the party was attacked by a group of Gricks, but managed to dispatch them, though with some difficulty. The second level retained the ancient Obirith church design elements, but in a rougher-hewn guise. Still nursing wounds from the harrowing encounter with the Gricks, the party proceeded with caution through the halls. Soon, the heroes discovered a chamber where the main lieutenants of the cult, Remhard, Lennick, Edranil and Serla, slept. Not as many clues were found, but a note by Remhard made it clear the level of fanaticism evident among the cult members. In an unhinged hand, the priest had written, "She will be whole. She will be queen. Our people will be free. From burning sands to domain of shadow, through mists unending and eternal underdark, the Black Pyramid will fall, as will the walls of the fortress undying. The moment of ages foretold, the age of pain undone. Belief in blood, glory out of the broken night." Nothing concerning at all about that. Perfectly sane writings about perfectly sane topics right there. As they proceeded through this level, they finally came face to face with members of the cult. A battle ensued with several cultists and their enthralled carrion crawlers. Ugh. With some effort, The heroes prevailed. At the end of the level, the heroes found a shallow pool that was replenishing somehow, surrounded by 6 pillars. Each pillar had a bowl, 5 with a high line in the bowl, 1 with a low one. Varys easily solved the riddle by filling the 5 bowls with water to the line, and then the final one with a small amount of blood. With the puzzle solved, a secret door opened in the wall, revealing a cavern leading further down into the earth below the church. The heroes descended into the caverns beneath Plaguemore, discovering a seemingly older and perhaps more disturbing ruin. In a sundered temple, they found statues of the same Obyrith lords as in the crypts in the church. With some puzzle solving, the group managed to uncover a cache of artifacts beneath the statues from the earliest days of the Blood War that included 8 small, heavy brass statues of the Obyrith, an ornamental scepter made of heavy raw iron but covered in intricate designs, as well as an Obyrith banner, among other treasures and curiosities. Continuing on, the heroes entered a large chamber and encountered the bulk of the cult and their head priest Remhard, who appeared to be engaged in some form of blood ritual. The most zealotest of this roomful of zealots, the Shadar-kai priest Remhard raged at the heroes, saying,
"Kadiris call, the queen of the burning sands! The mother of conflagration! The breaker of night will be freed! Svadon is ready! He is the one to make her whole again! The unmade reborn! In the temple of the Blood Lord! He who can make her whole once more!"
Of course, a huge battle ensued, and after some harrowing moments, the heroes prevailed, killing Remhard and the cultists. Our friends continued further into the caverns, hoping it would lead to a way out. After a few hours, they found themselves in the putrid sewers of Plaguemore, heading in, hopefully, the right direction. Eventually, they found their way back to the Eye of the Dragon Inn, where they encountered the plains-renowned gnome candy master, Jacintra Beth Bim Bibbins, who was on a market research trip looking into the tastes and interests of the Abyss. Even with her busy schedule, the absolute treasure gifted the weirdos some of her family company's coveted candy. Soon, the heroes headed to the keep and met with the Archlector to discuss payment for a job well done. The Lector fulfilled his part of the bargain, granting the party access to the warehouse, when suddenly an alarm rang out urgently in the distance. The Lector appeared to receive a message and informed the heroes that the warehouse was under attack again. He thought it all was pretty funny, but the heroes didn't share the joke, leaping up and racing to the warehouse and who knows what else. Our heroes raced through Plaguemore to the warehouse, where they encountered a large deployment of the hounds who were preparing to storm the building, when an arrow hit one of them in the chest and suddenly exploded. Nasty. Chaos ensued. The heroes managed to race to the now-on-fire warehouse door, but not before several of the hounds were killed by a massive chain lightning spell dropped on them from the roof. Drogon began climbing the walls as the rest of the party breached the door and entered the warehouse. Inside, they found members of the so-called mage mob attempting to steal the crate. Well, I was wondering if they were going to show up again, turning up unwanted like a dust mephit at a Darbus convention they did. Anyway, there were several as yet unseen members of the mob, including a soul-killing rogue of some kind. But the heroes also noticed the Air Genasi sorcerer, the strange monk and the shape-shifting tiger lady, among others. They were all managing to keep the hounds at bay, but the heroes began pressing these new rivals. As things came to a head for the upstart thieves, Varys noticed that members of the Cult of the Other, dozens of them, began flooding into the warehouse. Then, at the back loading door, Lennox and Surla entered with more cultists. Outnumbered and close to being overrun, the mage mob bugged out in defeat, teleporting away without the crate. Lennox and Regal squared off, while Surla attempted to secure the crate. After taking some damage from Lennox, Regal and the others managed to push back the cult, who made a last stand around the crate after an inspired use of a conjure volley arrow from Varys wiped out much of the cultists. At that point, the heroes felt a strange presence reach out with chilling psychic tendrils from the crate, one that they soon heard in their head saying,
"I know you."
Just as an injured Lennox and Surla teleported away with the crate. Reinforcements for the hounds, including 3 of their main leadership, arrived and helped the heroes clean up the rest of the cultists. Yay, Returning to the lector, the heroes learn where the Temple of Orcus is. A temple they believe is where Svartan will perform a dark ritual, hoping to release whatever or whoever is bound within the crate. Turns out it's outside the town a ways at the top of a perilous spike-shaped rock formation somewhere in a place called the Canyon of Collapse. I mean, where else would it be, right? And so, with that, our friends race into the Outlands, and toward, and I know I am repeating myself for what feels like the 100th time when I say this, certain doom none of us can fully conceive of.